All right, everybody, welcome back to another deep dive. You ready to get nerdy?
Always ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so today we're taking a trip to the land of IT, but not the kind that makes you want to tear your hair out.
Right. Hopefully some solutions in here.
Big time, we're dissecting episode 43 of Mike Personi's podcast, Forge of Unicorns.
Mike Personi. Yeah.
And honestly, this guy is a straight-up legend. He's bringing that, high-octane Formula One energy.
Yeah, he comes from that world, right?
Exactly. Formula One and MotoGP racing, where every millisecond counts.
So intense.
And he's applying that same crazy attention to detail to the world of IT.
Which needs it desperately, let's be honest.
Seriously, though, in this episode, Mike's sharing some mind-blowing insights from his white paper about why so many IT projects go belly up, and get this, a lot of it boils down to leadership failures.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
It does when you think about it, but it's kind of scary how often it gets overlooked.
Yeah, especially in mid-sized companies, you get this massive disconnect between the people making the big decisions and the folks actually doing the work.
It's like they're speaking different languages.
Totally different planets.
And that leads to this blame game, this toxic cycle Mike calls the storming phase of team development.
It's like when everyone's trying to figure out their role, who's in charge, who does what, and there's a lot of conflict.
Basically, everyone's lost in the desert without a map.
Or a camel, or even a bottle of water.
So how do you escape this IT desert of doom?
Yeah, how do we get out of this?
Well, Mike's white paper is basically the treasure map. It outlines 6 huge problem areas that plague IT departments.
And some of these are not what you'd expect.
Right. It's not just about outdated tech or not having enough skilled people.
It goes deeper. It's about the whole culture of IT.
Yeah, and his first point blew my mind. He says, IT as a profession kind of lacks universal standards.
Whoa, hold up. Explain that one.
Okay, think about it. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, they all have strict codes of ethics, licensing boards. The whole 9 yards.
Right. Tons of oversight.
But IT, it's like the Wild West out there.
Anyone can hang up a shingle.
Exactly.
Sure.
You're building the software that runs our lives, controls our finances, connects the entire world, but there's no real guarantee of quality or security.
It's actually terrifying when you think about it.
Right. Imagine if bridge builders were like, yeah, we don't need blueprints or inspections, whatever.
We'll figure it out.
That's a hard pass for me. I like my bridges, not collapsing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
And Mike brings up some seriously scary examples of where this lack of standards has caused major issues.
Oh, bad.
Remember those software glitches that caused those planes to
Yeah, those were scary.
Talk about real-world consequences.
Huge financial hits and even worse potential safety risks.
That's not a joke.
Not at all. And this whole standards thing feeds right into Mike's second point. Finding top-notch IT talent is like trying to catch a unicorn.
Ugh, tell me about it. It's a nightmare.
Mike says only about 1% of IT professionals have the skills and the personality to thrive in a high-growth environment.
Yeah, they got to be like tech geniuses who can also communicate like rock stars.
It's a rare breed.
So rare.
Which leads to Mike's third point, the culture of mediocrity.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Companies get so desperate for talent, they settle for good enough.
And Mike's brutally honest about this. He says too many companies just accept subpar performance.
Yeah, they're so used to things being a bit broken, they don't even know what good looks like anymore.
It's tragic.
And it creates this vicious cycle. Mediocrity breeds more mediocrity. You get low morale, people disengage, and it just gets worse.
It's a black hole of May.
Exactly. And good luck trying to attract those unicorns into that kind of environment.
Right. They want to be challenged to grow, to work with other brilliant minds.
They're not going to stick around a place that's just whatever, good enough.
Okay, buckle up, because Mike's next point is a doozy. He absolutely slams the whole digital transformation craze.
Ooh, digital transformation, or DX, as the cool kids call it.
And his findings are pretty brutal.
Lay it on me.
He says that 93% of digital transformation efforts fail.
93%? Are you serious?
That's not a typo, 93%.
Yeah.
It's basically an epidemic of failure.
Wow. But, when you think about it, with all the other problems we've talked about, the lack of standards, the unicorn shortage, the mediocrity, it kind of makes sense.
Right. You can't build a digital empire on a foundation of duct tape and wishful thinking.
You got to have the right people, the right culture, the right mindset.
And most companies jump on the digital transformation bandwagon. Yeah. Focused on the shiny new tools and processes. But they forget about the most important thing.
What's that?
The people.
The humans.
Exactly. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. It might look better on the outside.
But it's still a pig underneath.
You're not addressing the core issues. And when you ignore the human element, you end up smack dab in the middle of Mike's 5th problem area. Employee disengagement and burnout.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
The stats are scary. 77% of employees are disengaged, and over a third are completely burned out.
That's a recipe for disaster.
It's like running a marathon with a backpack full of rocks. You're not going to get very far.
No, you're going to collapse.
And that brings us to Mike's final point, which really hits home for me the myth of the digital transformation playbook.
Oh, yeah, the idea that there's this one-size-fits-all solution for every IT problem.
Right, like those fad diets that promise you'll lose 10 pounds in a week.
Uh-huh.
It's a quick fix that usually backfires.
Because every organization is different. They have their own culture, their own goals, their own weird quirks.
Trying to force fit a generic solution is like trying to wear someone else's shoes. It's just not going to work.
So what's the takeaway from all this doom and gloom? Is there any hope for these struggling IT departments?
Don't worry, Mike doesn't leave us hanging. He's got a solution, and it's called the unicorn's ecosystem.
Unicorn's ecosystem. Now, that sounds interesting.
I know, right?
Tell me more. Unicorn's ecosystem. Huh, that sounds kind of like out there.
I know, right? But it's actually really cool. It's not about like rainbows and glitter. It's based on solid research and real-world results.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Basically, Mike's taken what works for high-performance teams in like elite sports or the military. And he's applied those principles to IT because at the end of the day, it's all about people.
Yeah, for sure.
You can have the fanciest tech in the world, but if your team is a dumpster fire, you're not going anywhere.
Totally a Ferrari with no driver.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what's fascinating is that Mike draws from all these different fields like neuroscience, behavioral science, even social engineering.
Wow, that's a lot.
He's looking at the whole human ecosystem within IT.
So it's not just about tech skills, it's about creating an environment where people can actually do their best work.
Right. It's about collaboration, innovation, psychological safety, all that good stuff.
So how does that actually play out in a real IT department?
Mike tells this amazing story about a development center that was on the verge of shutting down.
Oh, no.
I mean, productivity was in the toilet. Morale was non-existent. Everyone was just waiting for the axe to fall.
Oh, it's rough.
It was bad. But Mike came in and started working with the team using his unicorn's ecosystem approach.
And what happened?
First, they had to figure out what was really going wrong.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, most of it was messed up team dynamics and a lack of clear direction from leadership.
So classic.
It wasn't about the tech. It was about the people.
The human factor.
Exactly. And once they addressed those core issues, things started to change.
How so?
They rebuilt trust, gave people more autonomy, empowered them to actually own their work and come up with solutions.
And did it work?
Get this. Within a year, that same development center went from being the laughingstock of the company to the top performer.
No way. That's incredible.
It's a total underdog story. It shows that even in the most hopeless situations, real change is possible.
That's really inspiring.
Yet it gives me hope for all those IT folks out there who are drowning in dysfunction.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way.
And Mike's message is that it's possible to create an IT culture where people thrive, projects get done right, and maybe, just maybe, people actually enjoy coming to work.
Yeah, that's a unicorn worth chasing.
So we've gone deep into the 6 challenges Mike lays out, but now we're starting to see the solution, this unicorn's ecosystem.
Okay, but what does that actually look like in practice? How do you build this unicorn utopia?
That's what we're going to unpack next. Stay tuned. Okay, so we're sold, right? Unicorn's ecosystem, sign us up. But how do we actually make this happen?
Well, it's not like you can just sprinkle magic unicorn dust and poof, everything's fixed.
Yeah, no magic wands, unfortunately.
But Mike breaks it down into concrete steps, actionable things you can start doing today.
Okay, I like the sound of that.
One of the biggest things is radical transparency.
Ooh, tell me more.
It's about open communication, no more silos, no more backstabbing, no more whispering in the hallways.
So basically getting everyone on the same page.
Exactly. Everyone working towards shared goals and knowing what's going on.
That sounds like a dream come true in most IT departments.
Right. It's about building trust, and that leads to another key principle, empowerment.
Empowerment, like giving people more freedom.
Exactly. Giving them the autonomy to make decisions, to experiment, to maybe even fail sometimes without getting reamed out.
So you're saying kill the micromanaging.
Kill it with fire. Micromanaging is the death of innovation and creativity.
It's like you're suffocating the team.
Exactly. When you trust your people, you unleash their potential, you create an environment where they can actually thrive, and that's how you attract those unicorns.
Right. They're not going to stick around a place where they feel stifled and controlled.
They want to make a difference, to be challenged, to be part of something special.
And Mike's got the data to prove that this approach works. He's obsessed with measuring everything, tracking progress, and constantly refining the system.
So it's not just some feel-good philosophy, it's a data-driven approach to building a high-performance culture.
Exactly. And the best part is, this is something that any organization can implement, big or small. It's about shifting mindsets, breaking down barriers, empowering people.
And it all starts with leadership, setting the tone,
Yes.
walking the walk, truly valuing their IT teams.
You know what really struck me about Mike's podcast is his passion.
Yeah, he's not just some consultant trying to sell a system.
He genuinely believes that IT can be a force for good in the world.
He's like an IT evangelist.
Totally. He sees the potential in these departments, and he's on a mission to unleash it.
And it's contagious.
It is. After listening to Mike, I'm actually excited about the future of IT.
Me too.
Maybe, just maybe, we can escape that desert of dysfunction and create a world where IT departments are known for innovation, collaboration, and actually making things better.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
It would be a revolution. So, to all our listeners out there, whether you're in IT or not, remember this, building a unicorn's ecosystem is possible. It's not easy, but it's worth it.
So find your tribe, challenge the status quo, and don't be afraid to break a few rules along the way.
You might just create something truly magical. And that's a wrap on this deep dive into high-performing IT teams. We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic, so stay tuned.
Thanks for listening, and please remember to subscribe to the Forge of Unicorns to stay up to date with our latest episodes.